And thank you for tuning in to Prevent Child Abuse Indiana's webinar on father engagement. My name is Brian Carter. I am the director of Dads Inc. and both Prevent Child Abuse Indiana and Dads Inc. are under the umbrella of the Villages. And so we are doing this webinar to just encourage everyone to become involved or get dads more involved. Okay, so we'll be showing a PowerPoint, but we will have our chat box up. So I'm very interested to know who is logged in. What's your profession? Are you a caseworker? Are you a foster parent? Are you just a concerned person? So if you could, that would be fantastic. We do have your names as far as the roll call is concerned, but we would like to know as far as in the chat. And if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. I'll try to make sure I get to that um, uh, because your comments are very important. So one person said that I'm a foster parent and the director of a child care program. Yes, we have early childhood development people, and that's fantastic. Some of my favorite people are early childhood development people. So my wife and I are foster parents. Good, good, good. Case manager, wonderful. Boone County forensic psych student. All right, all right. Um, Case manager, foster parent through the Villages, wonderful. Your family, wonderful, wonderful. So I've just a little bit about myself. I've been with the Villages. This year is 27 years, and so I did a little bit of everything. I start when we had group homes. I was the I was the group home social worker, and then also did foster care. So foster care is very dear to me. For several years, I've done foster care, and I also did older youth services, working with the older youth who are coming out of foster care and transitioning them into adulthood, and also did licensing, so for foster parents and training. So both with Marion County and with the Villages Therapeutic. So, you guys are definitely family and professionals that I admire. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing. So we do want to just go ahead and jump on in and talk about father engagement. So we're going to do a PowerPoint, but I will keep the chat box open, and we have a special guest who I will introduce to you, JaMichael Fann, and a little bit later he's going to talk about what he does and how he engages fathers. So we'll go ahead and get started here. All right. So once again, Dads Incorporated, we're about fathers. We're about children, making sure that they're raised properly. Here's some quotes. This is a quote from former President Barack Obama. Someone once said that every man is trying to live up to his father's expectations or make up for their father's mistakes. Pope John said it's easier for a father to have children than for children to have a real father. And the Sigmund Freud said, I cannot think of any need a child in childhood as strong as the need for a father's protection. So, throughout history, people understand the importance of fatherhood. So today we're going to show some videos, okay? that just kind of support fatherhood. Like I said, we're going to talk with our guest, JaMichael Fann, and get his aspect, his outlook on things, and his history. And we are going to have some discussion about, well, we're going to talk about the obstacles in working with fathers. That's where, we'll try to read your comments in the chat, okay? And the discussion on the advantages or the success of working with fathers. And JaMichael, you can jump in on that also. Dads Inc., our mission is just really to foster collaborations wherever dads that's where we're trying to be at. We work with fathers in the community. We work with fathers also in locked facilities. So we're just about building fathers. Once again, we're affiliated or under the umbrella of the Villages of Indiana. Wonderful, stalwart when it comes to foster care in Indiana, and then Prevent Child Abuse Indiana. It's just such a natural match for Dads Inc. to be teamed up with Prevent Child Abuse Indiana, because that's the key focus, is for kids to be safe. I don't know if anybody has seen the Kids First license plates, but they are available every time at the BMV. I know there's a lot of other choices, but if you get a Kids First license plate, the proceeds go to Prevent Child Abuse Indiana and Dads Inc. That's our primary funder. There's some other affiliates in town or nationally that are dad supportive. And if you ever are looking for statistics related to fathers, dads, fatherless homes, or statistics related to fathers, go to the National Fatherhood Initiative or fatherhood.org, okay? I believe there's a fatherhood.gov also. They do the cute commercials that are out related to fatherhood also. All Pro Dad is an awesome support for dads. If you go to All Pro Dad, and you can sign up to their, they have a weekly newsletter or e-newsletter and tips for dads, how to talk to a teenage daughter, 20 things that dads need to talk to their sons about, or different challenges and stuff. So it's a great website. Kids Voice of Indiana, they help a lot with some of the custody issues. Dads Inc. doesn't do that, but we tell people about Kids Voice of Indiana because they have some legal professionals that can give legal advice related to that sort of thing. And I won't read everything, but I mean, there's just so many great supports on here. And now I'm gonna have to put WIC on there too, right, JaMichael? Because they're focused on men too, so the Nurturing Fathers program, that's a program that me and my coworker Carol Poole work with fathers in locked facility and now virtually. So that's available. If we have any of our foster dads or any dads that you want to become involved, we are doing ongoing Nurturing Fathers virtual classes right now. So email me and we can get you hooked up with the next series of classes. This is an 8-week series of class. I do have to mention Fathers and Family Center because they are really the premier source and support. They've been around a long time and really have set a precedent on working with fathers, especially fathers that young fathers that are are either just re-entering back into society or just trying to find their way. So they're really a great asset to fathers. I'm going to share some fatherhood videos, and I'll just kind of keep it in the box here. Hopefully that you can see it.
Hey, you dads out there. So you want to be a better dad? Let me give you a few tips. You should let your kids do stuff that moms won't let them do. Make sure you teach your kid important stuff, like how to whistle, or how to ride a bike. How are they going to learn without you? Come home from work already. You think your kids got nothing better to do than wait by the door all day? Don't worry about the game. That's why God invented DVRs. Make sure to tuck your kids in at night and read them stories. And try not to yell. Yelling is scary. You can use your indoor voice, you know. Did you know that dad rhymes with mad and sad and rad? And give your kid a hug every day. Kids like hugs. Kisses, not so much. Tell funny jokes. What do you call cheese that isn't yours? Nacho cheese? What's the deal with ties? Maybe it's like a tiny cape that you wear in the front. You know, if you really think about it, kids need you. You're all they've got, so you gotta be there. If we could get all the fathers out there to be better dads, then that's gonna be a lot of happier kids. Thank you for being our dads.
I like the warm and fuzzies, but it's awesome to hear from kids what they expect from dads. What do they want, So, I wanted to show that. Now, this is kind of like a compilation of, you see the dad save videos where dads are just, saving the kids from danger or whatever. Well, this is a little bit of a compilation of
Whoa, that was close.
Oh, Daddy! 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 Oh my God! Daddy! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Я это снял, Артем, как-то я на лету поймал.
Да, есть фото.
Dad's awesome.
Be careful! Oh!
I got you.
Good say! On! Hurry up, get out of the way! Oh, I'm...
This sweltering prairie summer has got
All right. So, that some of those things were close calls. I mean, every time I watch it, it's like, oh my God, and you just looked, but it's important to know that, you heard Jesus saves, right? well, dad saved too, here on earth. So that's a good thing. I wanted to share though some statistics related to fathers and their presence or their absence in the home. So I share this with whenever I'm speaking to men, so they can be aware of the importance of them being present in their children's lives.
I want to talk to you about the effects of fatherless homes. Do you think a father missing in the home is a problem? Or do you think it's not? There's a balance. But if the father's missing, I'm going to give you some stats. Not coming from me. I'm going to give them to you. I want to read them to you. 63% of youth suicide are from fatherless homes. 63%. 80% of rapists with anger problems comes from fatherless homes. Children with fathers who are involved, check this out, 70% are less likely to drop out of school. 70% of fathers that's involved are less likely to drop out of school. Now look at this one. 75% of all adolescent patients in chemical abuse centers are from fatherless homes. 75%. Hold on to your hat. I got some more. I know you're sweating right now because you don't want to hear these, but I'm gonna give them to you. Daughters of single parents without a father involved are 53% more likely to marry as teenagers. 711%. That's right. Look at it. 711% are more likely to have children as teenagers, and 164% more likely to have a premarital relationship, and 92% more likely to get divorced even if they do get married. 90% of homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes. Is that enough to make you up? I'm not through yet. 71% of pregnant teenagers lack a father. Did you hear that? 71% of pregnancies are from fatherless homes. Do you think not having a father in the home affects our next generation? I want to talk.
So, these statistics are available, like I said, on that Fatherhood Initiative website, or you can always go to YouTube. That's where I got these videos from, and get information about to share with fathers or people that are engaged in working with fathers. This is 2021. Happy New Year. And times have changed. The traditional father role 50 years ago, or family role that a father had 50 years ago, had a lot to do with just merely breadwinning, going out and making the money, not a whole lot of interaction with the children's day-to-day development and growth. Of course, teaching them things, reinforcing values and that sort of thing. But times have changed. There are more dads that are beginning to stay home. There are more dads that are in situations where they can be home. Well, definitely through this COVID, dads have an opportunity to be home, work from home, and therefore be around their children. So these kind of statistics kind of hit on those things. It's not quite even with moms, but it is increasing. And so therefore, we have to recognize this. And us that work with dads or want to work with dads, we now see that research shows that, dads are doing a little more of the day-to-day things with their children. So therefore, it's a great time. It's a great time to educate. It's a great time to get them involved. So, I'm sure there's some newer statistics that are out there, but I'm pretty sure they're, once again, increasing in the level of dad involvement. So, like I said, we want to talk today about the difficulties of working with fathers, the barriers of working with fathers, tips on how to recruit or incorporate or maintain fathers in your programs, the advantages of father participation. And some of the barriers, and you could put it in the chat. Please put some of the barriers that you're facing or that you're aware of working with fathers. Some of them is the father is less available. A lot of times that's due to the fact that the dad is working the 9 to 5, and some programs are during this 9 to 5, and so we'll talk a little bit more about being flexible. Or who is the father? If the mother doesn't identify who the father is, then how can the dad be involved in daycare activities and that sort of thing? I mean, are they even considered an option to ask that question? Would dad like to be involved? A lot of times if you don't see him, then it's like he doesn't exist. Once again, mothers are often gatekeepers to the fathers. And so it depends on the relationship, but just wanted to let you know, all the fathers aren't stalker creeps that, that are, involved in domestic violence. Sometimes it's just, if it's not asked, it's not thought about. So therefore, fathers are left out. Culture focuses on the need of mothers and their children. When we really think about it, and especially in any kind of social service realm, the way social services was designed, it was designed for the mother and the children. And it didn't have its original design with the dad in mind. So we have to change that, don't we? Fathers need services to be provided during non-traditional work hours, okay? Fathers' situation may pose a barrier to contact, which means that maybe they don't live in the same home. Maybe, there's some outreach that needs to happen in order for that dad to be reached. Few services and resources are designed to fit fathers' needs. We'll definitely let JaMichael talk about that, so those are the realities. Fathers feeling a low self-worth, which means like, I don't matter when it comes to these social services and these type of things. It doesn't matter whether I come or not, because it's about moms, it's about the kids, So our job is to erase this, to create a new culture. So JaMichael, I think this is the best time to once again introduce JaMichael Fann. He's with Women and Infant Children, right? And so
Yes.
he's going to explain his background, his role, and really his motivation to work with fathers and to keep fathers engaged. So we welcome JaMichael Fann.
Hello, everyone. And my name is JaMichael Fann. I work with WIC, Women, Infant, and I am the Fatherhood Engagement Lead for WIC. WIC is important because infant mortality is a big part of pregnancy with any WIC program. And infant mortality means a child dies before the first birthday. So this is important for me because I am on the back end getting these calls and making calls to these women, infant and children, to make sure that they get benefits for their children and themselves. And maternal mortality means that a mother dies also. So with mortality, with infant mortality and maternal mortality, those two go hand in hand with WIC and why we choose to help out these families. But we also have an important role of the fathers that need to take place in the mother's life. And that is just being present as a father. If you are married, or if you're not with the wife or spouse, the father's presence is the most important thing, especially when women are pregnant. Okay, and in the chat, I would like to ask you all, why are fathers important? You can give me one or two answers in the chat. Why do you think fathers are important?
And if we have shy people, then maybe Carol can jump in, say a couple of things, maybe related to answering the question.
That's fine.
And I think it's important to know too, JaMichael, is that we aren't favoring fathers over mothers. This is
No, no,
not a
no.
competition in any way.
Yes,
We're
yes,
just
no.
focused on dads because we know the importance. When we heard the statistics, that's the number one reason why fathers are important, because his presence or father image. Sometimes it's not the biological father. It may be the father image, which might be the grandfather, which might be the big brother, the uncle, someone close to the family. It can be, a stepfather or a boyfriend. So when we say father, we're kind of including this father image, this community, a dad, so to speak, which could be a neighbor or whatever. Of course, these are safe people that we're mentioning here. So okay, fathers are a huge help financially and with a tap out. Your turn in, hands on. Okay, that Carol said that. And then Megan said models how relationships can look. Okay, so when they see a father, there's modeling on how fathers and mothers get along. It shows children how to respect a mother, which is very important, and what a daughter should look for in a partner. Very good.
Yes, and exactly. And I'm gonna let you know the reason why a father is important from my perspective.
Yes.
And I said it earlier. It's the presence. It's the presence of the man being around the mother. And like you said, there's no competition between the men and women. The whole ultimate goal is, if the father is not with the woman, to still just get along with each other in front of your kids or not, or if you're on the phone, anything in that nature, just show the kids that you are able to get along, because that right there takes the child to a further situation. So like if the boy or the girl hears that the men and the women are arguing, um, that's most likely probably what the child is going to find in the spouse when they do find a boyfriend or girlfriend. And so the whole ultimate goal is to get along around the children, period. And that's what I wanted to kind of, bring together with the father part of that. And another thing, and I also had a few reasons why fathering is important. Two, because a child is less likely to get in trouble with the law, more likely to do better in school and hold a job. And fathers promote inner growth and strength in the child. Um, and that inner growth and strength comes when the men are being affectionate and supportive to the children. It greatly affects the child cognitive and social development. And that's what I wanted to, share with you all.
Very good. Justin Evans says, healthy balance for children to have father figure to learn about love, respect, and responsibility, which definitely supports what we had been saying, what you've been saying, JaMichael. So it's not a competition. This is just, an additive. Now, JaMichael, can I ask you,
Yes.
what got you excited about, as a father, you're a dad of 3 children, and what got you excited about wanting to work with WIC? I mean, because that's traditionally not about fathers. So how'd you get into that?
Yes, I know. Well, I think it all started just becoming, as a youngster. I always worked with children and families, even when I was young. Um, I can recall 13, 14 years old. I was working at the Boys and Girls Club, and I was helping out families and children. And it may not been in the way of WIC and fatherhood, but it's still in the same different category, because I was still teaching skills on how to play basketball, or even in art sessions, how to build crafts and things like that. So I think this was just embedded in me when I was young. And so before I came to work with the father program for WIC, I was driving a school bus 4 years prior. So me managing a school bus with 70, 80 children
Wow.
every day for 4 years, no accidents or anything like that. It's kind of
That's
built
good.
It kind of built me into having relationships with other children that were a big diverse group that went to Wayne Township. It helped me um, be diverse myself and helping out other children that didn't even speak English and didn't know how to ride on a school bus. So all this came about when I got the call to be Fatherhood Engagement Lead. I was like, oh man, this is a big road I'm going to take on. And so, and the main thing was to encourage and engage the men within the WIC program that had spouses or wives that was on the program for WIC. So,
So
what
what is
I
your day-to-day? What do you do every day related to men and WIC?
what I do every day related to men and WIC, helping. That is
Yeah.
my main That is my main source, helping out the women, infant, and children, and also helping out the men to vital community resources, and just to another level that they seek upon themselves to make it on. Like some men may not have a high school equivalency, so I will send them to, Fathers and Family Center. Some of the men may want a one-on-one session with me. So I'll do a one-on-one session with them about their goals and what they are trying to see their goals to be in the future. So,
So you're going beyond just the baby milk formula and talking about breastfeeding and stuff. You're into developing them to be better fathers.
yes, yes. And the breastfeeding is a big aspect, because there's some men that don't have knowledge on breastfeeding, and I can actually give them the knowledge to encourage their wives on breastfeeding, because actually it saves a lot of money. And if the baby gets hungry, or if your formula runs out before the due date of your appointment, guess what? You don't have to struggle for that formula when, the baby can latch on to mom. And plus, they can get we call liquid gold as a breastfeeding peer counselor. They call it liquid gold, which is the colostrum for the baby, and that's very important for the men to know as well. It's just not,
That's really good, JaMichael.
thank you.
That's good. I did not know any of that. I've always was told that it's good for the baby. It
Yes.
had something to do with bonding, but I mean, you didn't get, unless I asked someone, and
Yes.
my wife's the type that, she will quiz me so I can get an education. And sometimes it feels okay, but I think it feels better coming from a man. If I was in a early parenting situation, coming from a man in the WIC office. Now, I might, as a client, or like, a husband or a boyfriend to my child's mother going, I might just drop her off at WIC and just look at my phone in the car or whatever. But it seems like you're inviting the men to come in, so while the mom is getting whatever services, the dad can get services and the education and inspiration and motivation also.
Yes, and I understand that when we look and read WIC, women, infant, and children, it doesn't include dads, and
Yeah.
sometimes that's just how you feel as a dad. You don't feel included in a lot of things. We don't feel included in, but when it comes to your child, when it comes to the mom and the child, and she's getting ready to have a baby, dad should know, just being there is equally important. Um, as anything in the world, because it still helps with the social development of the mother and the child at the same time when you don't even think it does. So um,
So
that is
tell me the trick, because once again, that building doesn't say, "Hey, dads, come on in." And traditionally, I've been to the WIC office when I was doing, casework and bringing,
yes,
older youth services person to WIC or whatever. There was nothing in that building that said anything related to, "Hey, dad." I don't think there was even a brochure back then that
yeah.
said, "Hey, dad," anything, and the whole atmosphere. So tell me about how things, if someone was inviting or wanting to invite men to feel comfortable in the WIC office or in other places that moms and children are being serviced, what does it need to look like? That's number one question, JaMichael. And then what would keep me interested? Now, of course, I love my child and all that, so it's not an issue there. But a lot of times we need some bells and whistles. We need some incentives. We need something. So talk to me, JaMichael. How does that work out?
Well, first off, um, you have a fatherhood program and a great person as a man to reach out to all those fathers. And what I do is, I'm just give you a little spill of what I do with the fatherhood program. Before COVID, I was going into 15 different clinics,
Wow.
15 different clinics, north, south, east, and west. And what I would do is it would be a one-on-one approach. I would talk to these men from just me seeing them one-on-one, asking them just straight up, just being, just be straight up with the men, asking them, would you like to be a part of the WIC Dads club? Because I actually changed it to club instead of a program because program seems like something to men that may be boring.
Yeah.
So I kind of changed the verbiage of it being a WIC Dads club instead of WIC Dads program. And because when you in a club, it's a club of people. You have fun. You wanna talk with each other. You wanna get each other's attention, but also get the knowledge of what's going on with the father program. And some other things that you should add in your program to make the men feel more inviting is pictures of dads. So we have a dad board where we take pictures and we put them up on the board. So when they do come in, if they come in without the mother, long as they're on the list as a proxy, the dad can bring that child in, and he can also see his picture up on the board that will make him more inviting and exciting to come into the clinic. Like, oh, my picture is still there with, you know, me and my child. Have a baby changing station for the men restroom.
All right.
I think that's very important because a lot of times when you go into the restroom, we don't have a baby changing station, and that is important because when I would have my kids and my wife was at work and I would have to take them to appointments or whatnot, there wasn't no baby changing station for me and my daughter. So and I can't just go into the women's restroom. So and another important thing, like you said, with incentive, my incentive that I have for the men are proud dad bags that you can use as a diaper bag or a gym bag, books for the developmental process of the child's brain to read to the kids. I think we included bus passes, but that just happened just before COVID, you know, just in case these dads are not able to drive, but they can use the bus as an incentive. And outreach, you know, outreach is always good because you are able to run into men where, as in some of our clinics, you don't see men come in as much as some of the other clinics that we may that I may go to.
So this is great. I mean, you know, me and Carol, we run dad, you know, programs and everything, and sometimes it's in a locked facility, but we still offer incentives. What's the incentive for you to finish our sessions or our programs or whatever? And it could be snacks. Dads like to eat.
Yeah.
When I do my community nurturing fathers things, we're always going to mention that, you know, we're going to have, you know, some kind of dinner or snack, kind of pizza. You know, pizza attracts kids. Pizza definitely attracts that. You know, some of the other things that we do. And I mean, I'm a sports fan. Usually I have the background. I've got my whole New York Giants background or whatever. I'm in a different room today. But I will talk about sports. You know what I mean? You know, I'll start off the session talking about sports, and just it just sparks conversation. You know, we can't talk about politics. That sparks fighting. But we can talk about those Pacers. We could talk about those Colts, you know, and have healthy debate related to that. You know, politics is too hard, you know, but and religion. Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about any of that. We're gonna talk about, you know, sports. We're gonna talk about our children. You know, what are the commonalities, you know, how are things going with your child? You know, what's going on with my child, whatever level that they're on and that sort of thing. So JaMichael, you are doing a wonderful job. You just touched the surface on the stuff that you're doing and the things that you're about. And JaMichael is an alumnus of alumni of the Fathers and Family Center. And so I believe we met a long time ago before I knew, you know, he was still budding and developing and everything when I taught parenting classes there at the Fathers and Family Resource Center. So, you know, these are great opportunities to meet dads. And when you walk in that place, you know it's about dads. You know, you're going to see dad graduates on the wall. You're going to see male employees, okay? Not that, you know, female employees can't do the job. It's just that men want to see people that look like them. You know what I'm saying? people who have a story similar to them or who can empathize, you know what I'm saying? So we wish you well. I know COVID's kind of slowed a lot of people down with different things, but JaMichael has joined in my evening classes for nurturing fathers, and he puts a younger aspect. You don't see any gray hairs on his head. I got the gray hair. So he comes from a father perspective because he has young children. My children are adults, so he's got young children. And so it's the relatability that's important. So thank you so much, JaMichael. Stick around. You know, we're going to go back to the PowerPoint to just kind of, move on with what we're talking about. So let's get back to it. Okay, so JaMichael talked about the successes that he has with working with fathers. Carol, if you want to jump in, feel free. If not, it's okay. The successes of working with fathers, seeing fathers smile, seeing fathers give feedback. For those of you all that are foster parents and your dads, I loved having those breakout sessions with the foster dads. When I would go into a home and visit, a home that had a foster dad, a foster mom, and the foster children, or even, their biological children, I always made time to talk with the dad, get the dad's perspective. I know a lot of times it was the mom that dealt with the day-to-day knowings of how the foster child was doing and that sort of thing. But dad had an opinion too and had a perspective, and there was conversations that dad was privy to that maybe the mom wasn't, and it didn't matter whether it was a boy or a girl, it was that foster dad mattered. So I enjoy working with foster dads, and I think we need to do more dad powwows. We had a thing, and this was for the dads that they're not foster, kinship care parents. And sometimes a foster parent can be one and the same. Kinship, that is how they came into fostering or whatever. But we would have yearly what we would call the man cave. And I mean, we kind of like wherever we were meeting at, we would kind of decorate the place that kind of looked real man-like, with all the kind of, things. And I would show clips and I would talk about the importance of these dads, these kinship dads or foster dads being involved. So please, anybody who has any kind of say-so related to that, please recommend that, okay? And then when I've talked with people who are working with early childhood development, just like what JaMichael did, they have a board, or what some of the things that they did, they would say, okay, let's get the dads together and dad March, because of March Madness, it's your month to decorate the welcome board or whatever, and the dads would get into that. It was like, oh man, this is our month, or there would be activities, and I might be getting ahead of myself when it comes to solutions, but they would have events like, okay, a daddy-daughter dance. Daddy-daughter dances, can be the greatest head start for getting dads charged and involved. I'm an all-pro dads captain. And that means I just go to certain schools and encourage dads to be involved in their children's education. Dads are often involved with, dads are often involved with, things like, sports. They're going to be there for the ballet and everything like that. But what about a dad that is committed to being in the hallway once a week or a couple times a week, especially if they work a night shift or something like that, at the school. How many of you all know that a dad's presence or male presence that's not employee male at a school decreases violence? It deters violence. And once again, I'm not trying to say that there's any kind of dads are better than moms or anything like that. I'm just saying statistically, it deters violence because the male presence just has that natural order about itself. Like as in, I know my dad wasn't the one that did most of the discipline, but when he said, hey, I was at attention because of, just the bass in his voice and the, the authority that he possessed. And so, it's just important. So we have to think creatively. And I would just encourage our moms to help advocate and say, hey, you know what? That board you have or that brochure that you have, you need to include dads, because when they hear it from you, it can change once again, it can change the atmosphere or it can change the environment. And we're looking for a more dad-friendly environment. That's what this whole thing is about. So I'm gonna go back to our PowerPoint. Uh, so okay, so we're having these discussions. Some of the solutions, images of mothers and fathers in waiting rooms, not just the dads, but mothers and fathers. Gender neutral colors and decorating. Dads like pink, but put some blue in there, huh? Put some good old rusty brown in there, you know what I mean? Just so we don't get geeked out when we come into something. Reading material and magazines. I noticed that when I was taking my children to the doctor's office, many times there was nothing in there even for dads to read. Get a Sports Illustrated and put it in there, okay? Not the swimsuit edition, but all the other ones, something that says, dads, we know you're here, so here's something for you to read. I would say even in those family magazines, that they have more dad pictures, which they do. Encourage staff to communicate to families that fathers are just as important as mothers. And like I say, mothers can help with that. Include clear expectation that caseworkers and other staff will identify, locate, and contact non-residential parents. Just because the dad isn't living in the home doesn't mean that he doesn't exist and he doesn't care about the children. So we want to always make sure that the letters, the newsletters, the updates, all those sort of things. Is there email address that we can send this both to dads? Because think about it, if it's all going out electronically, what's the harm of having two emails for Johnny or Sue, related to their parents, even if, they're not living in the same home? It's just as important. Ensure that non-residential parents are treated in a gender responsive, non-accusatory, non-blaming manner. A lot of times when we see that parents aren't together or we hear that they're separated or divorced, we automatically start thinking it's because dad is this, this domestic violent person. And it's like, come on, no. People break up for all kinds of reasons. And if it's not violent, that, it's got some kind of paperwork behind it, who are we to judge? He's the dad. He's here every week picking up the child, or involved in different things at the school. Let's not be judgmental or anything like that. Higher service delivery staff, um, that mirrors the proportion gender of client. That's what JaMichael was hired, and we would hope that JaMichael is not the only male in the building, because that doesn't resemble, how it should be if we want the environment to be where everybody is working together. There are more and more male educators that are getting into, elementary. We used to have just junior high and high school males being involved in education, kind of more secondary education. My son's an educator, so they kind of naturally was pushing him to be with junior high, high school, and adults, as opposed to, we need people in early childhood development. We need males in early childhood development, because once again, children need to see the wholeness, not just half. Okay. Solutions: ensure that fathers have access, they have voice. Be in the habit of asking caregivers, will dad be a part of the meeting? That's important, related to DCS, related to school, related to, once again, the things that are going on in early childhood places, kindergartens, daycares, that sort of thing, if you're having events or activities. Ensure that conversations are with and not to fathers, eye-to-eye contact. So, not talking over the dad's head, but just really, really excited that he is there and getting them involved. I saw a comment that was saying frustration about, well, I want to engage the dads, but the dads are on the cell phone and not, being engaged. Well, believe me, that's anywhere. If you go to a high school and try to teach some kids at high school to have, are allowed to have their cell phones, they're all got their face in their cell phone, and you just have to say, okay, we're gonna put this is a no cell phone zone for the next 10 minutes or whatever, and we're gonna focus on the kids. You show them, I'm gonna put my cell phone away. And unless, it's the president calling or some kind of super emergency, I'm going to keep mine to the side, and we're going to be focused on the kids. I'm sure if anybody goes to any school play or activity or anything, the dads, or moms too, are looking in their cell phones and stuff. Some of them are using their cell phones for good, like videotaping the kids, but then others just, a lot of times that is, and JaMichael, you probably can agree with this, is that it's just a comfort thing. Looking at your cell phone when you're in unfamiliar territory or you're not sure you belong, you're just holding this comfort, and you're looking in it because you don't know what to do. Maybe a person is a little shy or eye-to-eye contact and that sort of thing. So, just kind of work through it. Understand, get to know the individual and understand, well, is this a crutch, or are they using it, or are they even aware that they're that cell phone addicted? So, you work with them on that. That's definitely what we do as professionals. Follow up with fathers when they are absent, if they can't be there at meetings or whatever. Follow up with them and just find out, hey, we missed you. People like being missed. So if you can say, hey, we missed you, in a follow-up email or a text or a phone call, the likelihood is that they will understand that, hey, somebody cares enough to say, I didn't see you, and ask for feedback and input. What do you think? We want to have this program for dads. How would that look? What would make it exciting? And they probably would say pizza. They might say beer too, but we're not having any beer. So that's kind of what's going on. Listen, I had some scenarios if people were working with fathers and what kind of ways would they get the father involved. It's kind of more for those that are caseworkers or that sort of thing. But let's take a stab at it, okay? So JaMichael, you can jump in. Carol, you could jump in. I think we have someone else that a couple other people that are DCS workers. Feel free to jump in on the chat related to this. So I'm going to read the scenario. This is Juan. Juan is a father returning from his second tour of duty in Afghanistan. He's married 8 years, and he's a father of 3 children. He's got a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. Juan loves his wife and children, and is happy to be home. He misses the head of household dad time that he had before he went on tour. Juan was injured in combat, a shoulder wound, and was honorably discharged. He also suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, and was advised just to take it easy. Juan's wife, Marita, returned to work once, Juan said that he was physically feeling better and that sort of thing. And so returned to work when Juan came home. Juan was gung-ho about helping around the house and caring for the children, but has recently found it crowding and overbearing. Juan's pain meds often cause him to feel loopy and sleepy. His wife caught him asleep, leaving the 1-year-old unattended for several hours. Juan's wife also reported that he is distant with her and often over disciplines the 7-year-old son. When Marita suggests getting Juan help, he becomes angry. He says that counseling is not for men and insists that he can hold his own weight. So try to make sure I get this chat going on here. What would you as a worker suggest to help Juan? Okay, this is military, and he's back from tour, so he's used to a military type of environment and structure. He may not know what his next career path is now that he's no longer in the military. What and there's some issues in the home. Okay, he's getting a little aggressive with his discipline with the 7-year-old boy. That might be due to the military type of background. He's distant with his wife. He's falling asleep, so he's kind of, there could be some things. So we got Megan that says suggest meeting with vets as a support. That's very good, because he may not respond to a typical therapist, your regular therapist, but if he can respond to a vet or the VA, and get someone who understands the military world. I never vouched to get a job at the VA because I never wanted to pretend like I understood the military life, because I wasn't a military brat. I wasn't, totally familiar, and I never wanted someone to say, you don't understand, you can't relate, you haven't been involved. So that's very good. That may be enough, and it might lead him to be okay with counseling. should meet with medical providers and ensure meds are correct, meaning that we don't want meds that are going to send him in any kind of irate kind of thing. We need to know the side effects of the medications and different things like that, and make sure that they're very good. And there's non-medicated options. If he doesn't want to be on meds, then what type of things could he do? Very good. He should attend the VA for PTSD. Exactly. A lot of times people are in denial, little more now they're not, because they understand that PTSD is a real thing. Now, PTSD is not just the military. It started with the understanding of it being a military thing, but it's very common that people are victims or fall to trauma. So very good, very good. All right, let's see if we could. So as far as like his being, JaMichael, you're a married man, so his being distant from his wife, how can we get that together? Who could go in and talk to him? If you were his caseworker, being a male and being a married male, what would you suggest for him? Your wife is saying that, you guys aren't as close. It's kind of hard to creep around some of that. You could get a guy that barks at you and says, hey man, that's me and my wife's business, none of your business, but how would you try to approach that?
In those situations, you got to be careful with how you say things, and you just don't want it to go off on another end where in the first place you wasn't thinking that in the first place, for it to go off on another level. But I mean, I would just ask, what do you and your wife need to do to kind of spark your relationship a little more, and but because you got
everybody, would you
yes,
be
because
like that? Well, everybody needs enhancing, so
yes,
what would you do? I get
yes.
it.
So I will try to ask, open-ended questions so that way he could answer, and then jot down a few things of what he said that he would like to do, and then, do a follow-up and remind him like, oh, did you do this? Did you do that? So that way
Oh,
he ensure that he is getting the best quality for him and his wife, so.
very good, very
Mhm.
good. I see someone else said that the VA could, be, the source of getting him some partner programs for parenting class. Maybe Rita go into parenting classes together through the VA. So the VA kind of being the thing, and I would hope that the VA would have male workers, because of the importance of him seeing a male. All right, so another situation, we got Montez. Montez is married, father of 4 children. He has a 15-year-old daughter from a previous marriage and a 3-year-old and 3 children, with his current wife. From ages preschool to elementary age. Montez works full-time in corporate America, and his wife, Sheila, is a stay-at-home mom who has a part-time home business. Montez is a good financial provider and sees himself as moving up the ladder of success. His job often causes him to work overtime and meet deadlines. He also often has late night dinners with clients and goes on golfing and sporting trips with his supervisor and coworkers in order to fit in. When Montez is home, he is exhausted and cranky. Sheila, his wife, tries not to complain, but does make him aware of the time he is missing with his children, while brown nosing and smoozing with his work fellas. Montez often gets defensive and reminds her of all the gifts, the trips, and the luxuries they possess. He claims that he's doing what is necessary to keep a roof over their heads. Montez's ex-wife is not at all understanding of his plight and loudly reminds him in front of their 15-year-old daughter of his joint custody agreement and commitment to his first child. The 15-year-old wants to spend one-on-one time with Montez instead of coming over and helping babysit the younger children. So, that situation is different from Juan, whereas Juan might have a medical thing going on and different things like that. But still, if you are engaging this male, if you're engaging this father, what could be some of the suggestions for Montez? He's trying to get up the corporate ladder. He's saying, I'm doing all this so you guys can live good, the boat, the picket fence, the vacations, the diamonds and pearls and everything. But there's obviously a lack going on with his oldest child, which is by his ex-wife, and his kids, and some relational issues with his current wife. So what would be some quick suggestions to kind of get Montez on track if he wants to? Now, we as social workers, we can't force anything on anybody, but we assume if we are involved in this case that he wants to change. He's open to improving. Anybody have any suggestions or anything like that? He could just do everything in a timely fashion. Remind people are happier with balance in their lives. Yes. So just one-on-one time and a weekly time. So it seems like Montez probably would honor a schedule, just like what Carol's saying. And so why not just kind of get him to include his family time in his full schedule, not just a work schedule, not just a leisure schedule, but a whole full. So when he sees the importance of family, I definitely would talk to him about being there, but not being there. If there was any kind of videos or testimonials related to how important it is for him to be tuned in to his family, and maybe even get some people who are now retired and talk about, I missed, I did a lot of working when my children were, 3, 4, 5. I mean, at one point in time, I was working 3 jobs, trying to make sure that we had what we needed and that sort of thing. So when my wife brings up things and say, oh, remember when the boys were 3 and they did this, or they saw this movie or whatever, I was in the home, but I wasn't there because I was working. And if I could go back, maybe, I could have altered some things and been there during some of those key developmental time, so it's very important. Family nights, Taylor said, definitely, because if you honor a family night and family meetings, family nights, those are so key to a family running. I know foster parents understand and honor that because life is busy and there's so many things going on. So to say, hey, it's family night on Friday and we're going to do our darndest to make it, even if it's not every Friday, it's like every other Friday, or 2 Fridays out of the month, we are going to have this going on. And you hype it up. Dad, you pick the movie. So Dad picks, we're going to watch Despicable Me 2 and 3, you know what I mean? And then, just kind of get all involved. Or dad, you're in charge of the meal. You make the popcorn or you make the pizza. We'll order pizza, and you preheat pizza, do something like that. So that's very good. So let's get to another scenario. All right. Let's see. Let's try to do Cody, because this is a reality, okay? Some things. Cody's 23-year-old father. He's engaged to Angel. They have 2 children and they have a 2-year-old and a newborn. 3 months ago, Cody was arrested in jail pending trial for his alleged part in a robbery homicide. So it's not like a spank on the hand type of issue. Cody was informed by his lawyer that due to the complications in the case and backlog in the court docket, that he may not have a trial date for up to 2 years. Cody cannot post bail and barely has enough money to maintain an attorney. Cody sees himself as a family man and participates in daily collect phone calls and weekly face-to-face visits at the jail. Of course, this is before COVID. Angel is struggling to keep the family going without Cody's emotional support and income. During the phone calls and jail visits, Cody struggles to hold meaningful conversation with his 2-year-old and feels that the baby is too young to recognize him. Angel tries to remain positive during the phone calls and visits, but at her last visit, she complained to Cody about her lack of money to pay for the charged phone calls and car fare to visit him. She also expresses fear that if he would be convicted and sent away for years, he'd be leaving her lonely. Cody hears rumors from the family that Angel is strongly considering breaking up with him and moving the children back to her hometown several states away to start her life over. That's a deep one. Wow. What do we do? We're gonna try to wrap up on this. This is near the end of my presentation. So we just know that people are in real life situations, you know what I mean? And we want fathers to stay engaged. So if I was the worker working with the mom, or if I was, maybe some kind of outreach counselor that could, work with the jail system or whatever, what would I do to try to keep Cody, a father who wants to be engaged? How would I keep him engaged? With this situation, try to get counseling between the dad and the mom first steps. So maybe in some creative type of way, because they are doing more and more video type of things, conferences and everything like that, and allowing people in jail to be involved through visits and everything like that. Yeah, try to get creative. Maybe talk to some higher ups and say, hey, we know that the case docket is backlogged. What can we do to keep this positivity? I always, and I'm sure Carol does the same thing, when we're working in the jail and in the prison, we're encouraging them, if the dads, if they can legally be in contact with their children, to write letters. I encourage the dads to keep a logbook on their thoughts about their children while they have time on their hands. So mom can record calls and have dad sing songs that can be played, because yes, in the visits and things now, a lot of times with the technology, the mom is at home and can do this. So if there's a way to kind of capture, so if Cody does get locked up for some years and they lose contact, in distance, they can do those creative things. So see if Cody has family that can give the mom money, yep, for car fare or even transport. That's very good. Thank you, JaMichael. So those are the things that we, if we're really about dads and we're really about making sure that they are having an impact in the children's lives, no matter what the scenario, let's try to practice. Let's try to put on those thinking caps that do that sort of thing. Because once again, father engagement is important to us because it's important for the development of the children. So if we're really about advocating for family, and family doesn't always mean husband and wife, it means, mom, dad image, biological dad image, whatever it is, then let's put our creative juices on creating an environment that supports dads. So let me see if I got anything else to hit on related to my PowerPoint. Please keep up with the comments. We will see that. You can email me if you have any further comments or anything like that. That was basically it. So I do thank you all. I am going to promote again the Nurturing Fathers, that class that is going on. This is my email. And if you, for those of you all that are foster dads, you do get foster care hours for participating in that class. So we do want you to complete the class. So it's not like a one-shot thing. We go every Wednesday evening from 6:30 to 8 on Zoom. And our last class will wrap up in March 3rd. We'll start a new class after that if you don't have the time right now. So please email me so we can let you know when the new class starts if you're unable to join us tonight for the second session of Nurturing Fathers. We'll let you in on that. So thank you again. Stay motivated. Thank our guest, JaMichael Fann, with the Father Engagement and the WIC program. If you know anyone that is has a mom that's involved with WIC, encourage them to get involved also. All right. And if you're here in Marion County, look up JaMichael Fann, and he can definitely help you out. So thanks again. Continue to support Prevent Child Abuse Indiana. We have a Facebook page, Prevent Child Abuse Indiana. We also have www.pcain.org, where you can find out about our programs, other presentations that we do, webinars. So thank you again, and have a great day.